Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks so much for tuning to it. Happy Lawn Maintenance Tuesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. But, hey, when you miss things, you'd like to know that you can get caught up, and you can. We post all 3 hours, both to iTunes and our own audio vault every day upon the conclusion of the program. You can also email the show if you like. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices, too. And we're on YouTube. If you want to watch us perform the show, go to ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. Wow, it's rare that something on a national level causes me to lead, especially after a loss. For Florida State, causes me to lead over the local story and central theme of the show oftentimes, especially in football, with Florida State football. But that's what you got going on here. You just heard the local sports center, the National Sports Center. This story, by the way, right off the bat with the Rifleman, you don't remember Chuck Person, do you? Do you remember him as a player?
No.
This is me being old again. Chuck Person, the NBA player, you might have remembered, if only because he played all the way up to 2000. But I remember him in college at Auburn, and I can remember, but you wouldn't. He was from 82 to 86. But he was a really good player and then had a distinguished career. And he's now been suspended indefinitely without pay by them. He's one of 4 coaches. We're going to find out about more, it sounds like, throughout this investigation with the FBI. It looks like my man Rick Pitino may have to invoke 9/11 again, Tom. Yeah, everybody can't wait for that. We love when Rick Pitino besmirches the memory of heroes by somehow equating whatever personal misery he's going through at any given moment with the NCAA, and in this case, perhaps the FBI, with the tragedy that occurred on 9/11.
Well, yes, but, it did, and it affected me greatly, and it's informed my worldview since that day.
Oh, man. So if you don't know, let's inform. Let's get caught up. It's a crazy investigation, and it's not the kind of thing, I'll repeat this because I think it bears repeating. This isn't your standard, NCAA violations. No, these are things that are well beyond recruiting violations, and they have to do with a violation of federal law, and this could involve people going to prison. And from what I've read, up to 20 years. Now, I doubt the guys are going to get 20-year sentences here, and that many of them will turn on the others, I'm sure, or whatever they can do to get a deal.
Yeah, but that's where it gets really interesting, right?
Yeah, you've got allegedly the assistant coaches steering players to agents. You've got money laundering accusations. Tom, mail fraud is in the news. It's not every day that mail fraud is in the news.
I've long waited for this day, Seinfeld.
4 assistant basketball coaches from Arizona, Auburn, Oklahoma State, and USC were amongst those that were arrested on federal corruption charges today after they were caught taking thousands of dollars in bribes to steer NBA-destined college stars towards certain sports agents and financial advisors. The coaches named in court documents, I mentioned aforementioned Chuck Person of Auburn, had a great career, especially when he was at Indiana. Oklahoma State's Lamont Evans, Arizona's Emmanuel Richardson, and USC's Tony Bland. Remember Tony Bland? You remember him playing? You remember Tony Bland? Anyhow, it was not immediately clear who would represent them initially in their court appearances, but who cares? Also charged in Manhattan federal court were managers, financial advisors, representatives of major international sportswear companies. The picture painted by the charges brought today is not a pretty one, said June H. Kim. He is the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and talked about basically coaches from some of the nation's top programs soliciting bribes, accepting cash donations, managers, financial advisors, kind of going after blue-chip players in the hopes to get rich off their recruitment. And funneling those players to certain agents, shoe companies, and others in order to make money for themselves. And it's amazing. You've got Christian Dawkins, an NBA agent who was fired in May from ASM Sports for charging approximately $42,000 in Uber charges on a player's credit card. That's kind of a weird deal there. Jonathan Brad Augustine, president of the League Initiative and program director of the Adidas-sponsored One Family AAU program, is on this list. Imagine that. Munish Sood is a financial advisor on this list. Rashawn Michael, a former NBA official who founded Thompson Bespoke Clothing, a custom clothier for athletes, if you will. James Gatto is a director of global sports marketing for Adidas, is on this list. Merrill Code, who recently left Nike to take a job with Adidas, is on this list. Interesting time.
Perhaps he had a skill set he took with him from one place to the other.
Like a good recruiter. Perhaps.
Of sorts.
Yes. The FBI complaint against Gatto and others includes a reference to a public research university located in Kentucky. And when you look at the size of the enrollment at the said research institution in Kentucky, 22,640, it matches Louisville. So it is Louisville, who is identified as University 6 in the complaint. Gets fun here. You get player 1, player 10, player 4 going to University 6, and coach 2. Coach 2, by the way, was described in one document as swinging the biggest you-know-what in this situation.
University 6, school number 6. I think you're missing a digit, pal. Huh? You know what I'm talking about out there.
Louisville did confirm, by the way, their involvement in the FBI investigation. 10 people, including 4 assistant college basketball coaches, as we've said, are involved in all of this. They are one of the schools that has received the notice from the FBI. Brian Bowen, who is the subject of a now viral quote from Rick Pitino after his June commitment. There is an additional class of 2019 recruit that is alleged to also be involved in all of this. Louisville is fresh off of receiving penalties for their recent prostitution scandal. You don't get that every day.
That's a sentence.
It's unclear how the NCAA will respond to these latest allegations, but obviously this ain't good for old Rick. Has he fled to Billy Minotti Hall? Is he hiding in the bathroom?
I don't know why people are such traitors in my life. Look at all these traitors. They're renegades, all of them.
He's got to be thinking, oh, man, with all the things that he's somehow survived, this is it. This is the big one. This is it, man. My man, you're not surviving this one. You wouldn't think.
Surely you mean Richard Pitino at Minnesota. It's not my fault.
Go read. There have been a lot of allegations involving University 6. You can read the documents. They're available online. A lot of people have photocopied them. I know Wetzel has as well. Did a good job with it on Twitter. But there are a number of people who have like fascinating insight into what was going on here with bribe money being structured in a manner as to conceal it from the NCAA. Among other things, they tried to conceal it from school officials at University 6.
Well, yeah, and that's some of the reports that are going around. You see on social media some of the reporters, but basically you got a money guy and an undercover FBI agents. Oh, buddy. If you've got a money person and that person flipped and undercover FBI agents, you're in business for some really salacious stories.
$100,000 is no joke. Again, this isn't your typical, hey, this university and its coach choosing to ignore certain rules. The famed going 110 and a 70, 120 and a 70, as I like to say on the show. Hey, we're all speeding. You just can't go 120 down the highway before somebody calls it in. You can go 85. We'll probably let you slide on that. Well, we make that joke all the time about football recruiting and basketball recruiting in general. That coaches all kind of get it. They're just like us on the highway. Sure, the speed limit's posted. You're trying to get to where you're going. I'm trying to get to where I'm going. You go 85, I go 85. It's all good. You blow past me at 140, I got to call it in. You're a danger to all of us. But this is not that. Again, this is a violation of federal law. These are jokers going to prison. This is a wiretap and a 3-year FBI investigation. This is like cool movie stuff where you go, ooh, they got the mob on the racketeering there. They got them.
I don't think the FBI is going to slap scholarship reductions on these universities. Probably not.
It's hard to imagine now. It's Adidas people saying another shoe company offering more money for Bowen, so they need to up their money. Paragraph 36E.
This is like a movie. This is so rare, is it, that something actually takes place exactly as people think it does. But if you're reading some of these documents that are already coming out, the probable cause stuff. The thing is, the FBI investigation, the only thing they're releasing to the public, at least as I understood it a couple hours ago, is just enough to establish that there was probable cause for this investigation, and the details are going to emerge as this story develops. But from what you can gather already of undercover agents in a room, it happens just like you think it does.
Right.
Exactly like you think it does.
Exactly like you would see it play out, sure. Now, I'm looking at this $100,000 payment in 4 different installments from Company 1 to the family of Player 10 shortly after the agreement of the family and Player 10 decides to publicly commit to University 6. So that's how this looks, right? Because you've got these names redacted and things like that. But what you have is that in May of 2017, a request of at least one coach at University 6, that's Louisville, agreeing to funnel $100,000 in 4 different installments to this player and his family in order for them to commit to University 6. It's just, wow. I mean, this is far-reaching in that you've got shoe companies, agents, runners, coaches, families.
The system.
The whole shebang. You have a document in which the Chuck Person situation I just mentioned before, offering $50,000 in bribe payments in exchange for using his official position to steer student-athletes and retain the services of Coach 2 and Player 7. And, I mean, it's wow.
Okay, so I get it that we can't take anything for granted right now with our football program, and I get this is centering around basketball. But can we give away shirts or sell shirts the week of October the 21st this year and say beat University 6?
It would be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure. I'd like to beat University 6.
Well,
it's Bloodlust Week. Let's go get University 6.
In the midst of all of this, you know, the breaking story on the depth of corruption that the FBI may be uncovering here in college basketball is this other big story, and that is locally that Florida State is 0-2. Fans are a bit cantankerous at this point, a little frustrated by what they've seen. And there's this game against Wake Forest that, on the surface, yawn, we don't think, we're not going to lose to Wake Forest, right? Oh, I know. They're 4-0, but they're 4-0 with big wins over Presbyterian, Boston College, Utah State, and Appalachian State. So, again, this isn't like a 4-0 team that's beaten Miami, Louisville, Texas. And so, where you go, well, my God, we're going to lose this game.
Well, they should have beaten Texas, but
yeah, so it's
impressive wins otherwise.
So that's Wake, right? But there is this kind of needling going on underneath the surface, this feeling of irritation, this sort of thought of, well, what if they do?
Perhaps a stew, sir?
Yeah, like what do we say? How does the conversation shift? Because I agree with this. I think, and by the way, we did do Seminole headlines today. That'll come on at 5. I do think you can say, hey, maybe to some extent there is a measure of overreaction. There always is after a loss, just as there is always after a win. I mean, it's a big win. You take it to mean you're going to go on to win the national championship. And then if you lose a game that you shouldn't, it's, well, we're awful. Things are never going to be the same. You're right. The stew of discontent makes its return to the Jeff Cameron Show, as does Billy Minardi Hall, and perhaps calls for people to be fired. I mean, if you lose to Wake Forest, there's no perhaps about it.
When we won national titles at Kentucky, Louisville, and we made the playoffs with the Celtics and the Knicks.
Yeah.
A lot of successes in my career. No greater success than what I've done for people after that fateful day.
On 9/11, indeed, Rick. So what's a basketball game, right? Exactly.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You can always count on the Knolls to deliver. But what about your home comfort system? If your system is older or giving you problems, call the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning to check it out. Make the right call this season and turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Go Knolls. License number CAC 057652.
And now, a Sport Clips well-played moment.
Gentlemen, as you sit in your car or on your stationary bicycle to victory, what do you ponder? Do you think about the fantasy trade your soon-to-be ex-best friend denied? That speech you rehearsed in the shower to confront the loud chewer at your office? Or have you forgotten what you think about? Fear not, because we have a lot on our minds, which includes a head of hair that must be maintained. Sport Clips Haircuts knows this, which is exactly why they created the ultimate haircut place for men who have other things to think about. A great MVP haircut experience with a hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and sweet, sweet sports on TV. Everything you need for the hair on your head and face with little thought, planning, or preparation. Watch sports, feel great, problem solved. Then when it's done, look in the mirror and say to yourself, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips Haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Hendrick.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your savings. Race into Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC for the best selection and service in Tallahassee. Get incredible discounts on racetrack-worthy vehicles like $10,000 off select new Buicks and GMCs. We are professional grade. And that's not all. We've got a huge used car inventory, so you can find a quality pre-owned vehicle to fit any budget. We even offer low payments and exceptional offers like 0% APR financing. Hassle? No way. Haggle? Never. At Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC, you'll deal with people you know, like, and trust, and get the honest, friendly service you deserve. That's why our customers will tell you there's no better car buying experience in town. Visit us today at 1850 Capitol Circle Northeast or online at DaleJr.BuickGMC.com. And remember, you too can be a Hendrick driver.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Bet you'll be locked in tonight. The Sparks looking to take that commanding 2-0 lead in the series against the Lynx. Big matchup. Cowboys defeat the Cardinals 28-17 Monday Night Football last night.
Remember when Lynx was a brand of golf clubs?
No.
Oh, it was.
I believe you. Don't have any recollection of that. I can do tennis equipment all the way back to the late 70s and all of the brands that have made it big and or are now defunct, like Durbin.
When I turned 10 and I was growing into an older, an adult set almost, halfway between golf set, I got a putter and a wedge, and the putter brand was Dingo, and the wedge the wedge brand was McGregor. So my dad used to call me Dingo McGregor for a long time.
I like it.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a racial slur, though.
Or it sounds like an adult superstar.
Yeah, there's that too. There's a lot of ways you could go with Dingo McGregor.
Starring Diamond and Dingo McGregor.
Oh, that's good. 28-17 last night on Monday Night Football. They moved to 2-1. What a weird game. If you watch this, you saw that Dak threw for a robust 25 yards at half. Thanks for the 25 yards. I mean, this is not going well. And then it all turned around. He completed 15 passes. Completed a lot of passes, 15 yards or more downfield, 4 of 4, in fact, in that second half. As he did, by the way, he completed as many 15-yard-plus passes in the second half than he did it in the two games combined, in the first two games combined. It's crazy.
Well, it felt like that. There was, again, they beat the hell out of the Giants in week 1 on Sunday night. And Prescott didn't play all that well.
No.
Then all of a sudden, last week, the whole offense, the whole line gets dominated in Denver, and you're wondering what the hell's going on, even into halftime last night.
Yeah, sure.
I just wonder through 3 weeks, 2 weeks for the two Florida teams, but through 3 weeks of total NFL slate, who's good? Like, who are the favorites? This is
Kansas City.
And that's
I'm probably going to stop right about there. Kansas City.
And that tells you all you need to know about what this season is so far.
Sure. Yeah, no, there's a lot of Jekyll and Hyde performances for the teams. As good as a team looks in week 1 is as bad as they look in week 2, and you see it across the league. It's nuts.
I mean, I get it. Atlanta's in fine shape in the NFC, but they're a play away last week from losing to Detroit. And what is Detroit,
and
really?
They should have lost to the Bears in week 1. 4 plays inside the 10.
Yeah.
So, you've seen Atlanta keep winning games but look really bad doing it. And, here's a situation where I'll give you another example. I think, is this in London this week? I believe it is. The Saints, who we thought might beat Carolina, go and do that after losing their first 2 games and look terrible. You figured they'd play with desperation. I told you at the beginning of the season that I thought Cam Newton looked like a shell of himself, a shot player. I don't, maybe he gets better, maybe he doesn't. He's been awful in every game this year. Awful. He does not look like an average starting quarterback in the league right now. He looks like a lower tier bum. That said, he does. And that's not, you go look at those games. He looks terrible. Misses wide open guys all the time. Something's wrong with him. Something is wrong with him.
You just hit the note with bum of Mickey from Rocky. Dead on. That's why I laughed. Bum.
Well, and the other part of this is that, so we said the Saints would play desperate. I think the Saints play the Dolphins in London this week, right? Another London game.
I believe that's right.
We would stop with all the damn London games. They don't care. We shouldn't care. It's ridiculous. Anyhow.
Only Blake Bortles cares.
Yeah, well, he cares greatly. He wishes every game was in London. But that said, the Dolphins have had the weirdest schedule. They go out to San Diego, and then, you had the game canceled due to the storm. Then they play the Jets, and then they turn around now and go to London. I'm going to take the Saints to beat the Dolphins.
Ooh, all right, an early week pick.
Like big. And then the Saints, who suck, are going to be 2-2.
I don't want to touch that game. That's just volatile as hell.
I don't want to touch it either, and I'm not going to bet it in my personal life, but if you'd like a little piece of this, I'll take the Saints. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the Saints.
Let's see what the injury reports look like. Hang on, because those matter a lot.
They do, but I'm taking the Saints right now. I'm telling you that. So where are you on the trust factor? Aaron Judge yesterday, I can't ignore this. I'm a baseball guy, and this is a week, by the way, where 2 teams can lock up a playoff appearance, the Twins being one of them, I might add, which is kind of cool. I mean, I've invested now in the Twins because I don't care about any other major teams that are in it. So I'll root for the Twins. But that said, Aaron Judge hit 49 and 50, which makes him the single-season record holder for rookies. He's kind of not a rookie. The rookie rules in baseball are a bit weird.
The amount of at-bats, you can get a quarter of a season's worth of at-bats almost.
But okay, that being said, according to the rules, Aaron Judge is a rookie. And, as terrible, as great as he was in the first half of the season and as electrifying as it was to watch a man of that size hit the ball that far so frequently and into the home run derby, which he won, and then, all of that, well, that was amazing. And then he was awful for a long time, awful. And now he's great again. It's like he's come out of that.
It's the adjustment
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And it's impressive to watch. So the point is the season is magnificent. I mean, if you're going to hit 50 home runs as a rookie, you warrant the praise. He passes Mark McGwire, who hit 49 back when Mark McGwire wasn't massive. He was big, but not massive, his rookie season, and I remember that. So he joins now Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Alex Rodriguez as the only players in Yankees history to hit 50 home runs in a season ever. And obviously we know what Maris did and the Babe. But it's amazing to think that Aaron Judge has 50 home runs, breaks the home run rookie record, does it as a Yankee, so you have your superstar to carry the sport moving forward, which MLB would like to see. It pretty much always has to be a Yankee or a Dodger. Really, I mean, it does. It pretty much has to be.
Yeah, it hasn't been a Dodger in some time because Clayton Kershaw didn't move the needle at all.
No, and he's a pitcher. He's only out there once every 5 days, and he gets hurt.
Right.
And he can't win in the postseason, unfortunately for him, although he has done some things in the postseason people forget about. But anyhow, Dodgers kind of need to win one of these things. They win the division every year.
Yeah.
All right,
like a series. They need to win a series.
Yeah. So it has to be Aaron Judge. The only thing better would be if Trout ended up in New York, and I don't want that. But do you buy it?
I have a hard time with it. That dude is so massive that he's the perfect, it's like camouflage because he's just so huge and you don't know what you're watching necessarily. But I don't buy the sport right now. I'm selling the sport.
Well, no, you're selling the sport because of the way the games are played, because there's a lot of inaction, even above and beyond the inaction that is in baseball to begin with. A whole lot of swinging and missing and or a home run, and that's all you get. I got you.
No, I'm talking about PED-wise. I'm selling the sport. I think Buster Olney warned us 2 years ago.
He did.
And I think, look at these numbers. I don't care that the home run is valued. I don't care that players are trying to hit fly balls.
It's super valued, coupled with the strikeouts being devalued. You've got guys swinging out of their shoes because it gets them paid, whether they hit 240 with 35 bombs. In their mind, it's much better than hitting 270 with 20 bombs, so they do it, and the strikeout doesn't matter.
Yeah, but people are talking about the baseball being juiced again. That tells me all I need to know. It's wound tighter. That's the same discussion that people were having in the late 90s.
Yeah, but I don't know why baseball would do it either. It's not as if the money wasn't flowing in baseball recently. I mean, it's doing very well. They're never going to return to the status that they once had when we had 3 stations and people tuned in to Monday Night Baseball. And it's just that's not what's going to happen anymore. It's very much a market-to-market sport. It does very well. The TV deals are exceptional. And until that changes, really, they don't have anything to worry about.
I don't think that the commissioner's office
is saying...
No, it's not wink, wink, nod, nod. But the money is so great. I think that's the reason why guys realize that, so power numbers, if I can hit 30 home runs and have an on-base anywhere around, I get paid a ton of money, like a lot of money.
Yeah.
So screw it. I'm going to take my chance here, and if I'm not caught, I get my 6-year deal, and it's fully guaranteed. Worst case scenario, I get popped for steroids or PEDs, whatever they are these days, and I'm gone for 50 games, and I come back.
Well, they can pull your
80,
money. Most
now.
of these deals, they can pull your money at that point. They don't always choose to do it, but they can if you get popped.
I don't buy into the sport being clean at all. I don't think it is. I think it's rampant.
Well, then for that matter, do you buy into any sport being clean? I mean, we've had this conversation. I hate to imply that everybody we see who's a big-time athlete is on something, but I remember you and I talking about who looks like LeBron James.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Nobody ever talks about the NBA with that stuff.
But
ever.
I'm saying, it would be any sport. We know football players, almost all of them. I mean, that happens so frequently now that guys get busted for performance-enhancing drugs that we don't even – it's a hiccup. Oh, guy's going to miss 4 games because he failed a test. I mean, we don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, personally, I was stunned that Brian Cushing got popped again. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, stunning, right? Yeah. So, I mean, and Brian Cushing, by the way, whose brain will be mush by the time he's 40.
But baseball is different. It's treated differently, and the numbers are regarded differently. And
Right.
I'm
They're
not
held
taking
on
these,
high. But
I'm not taking these numbers as true.
Oh, man. I just hate it. So is anybody ever going to be able to hit 50 home runs and have you believe it?
Well, if somebody did 2 or 3 years ago when nobody was hitting home runs,
man.
I mean, how could the
you can
rise
only
be
hit
that steep that quickly? That's crazy.
Again, people deciding that the strikeout there's no shame tied to a strikeout, that you could shatter records and strike out time and again, that you could just disregard the fundamentals of baseball. Don't need to move anybody over. Don't need to hit to the right side. None of it. Just don't worry about it. Don't swing out of your shoes. And they all put the emphasis on the fly ball. Remember that? We've talked about this. I do think there's a chance that that's the culprit. That's the reason that you're seeing this. And also, by the way, now Aaron Judge is a massive man. He can hit the ball at any ballpark, but 81 times a year he gets to hit the ball out of that ballpark.
Sure.
And that ballpark is a running joke. It's an embarrassment to baseball everywhere. There's no reason that the New York Yankees, the most storied franchise in sports history, should have that ballpark, a Mickey Mouse child's play park. But anyhow, having said that,
when it was the second year of the pitcher, not that long ago, it was the post PED testing period of time where it looked like we were going to be seeing a game of speed and stealing bases and good defense. I mean, this is
they get great defense.
This is only a handful of years ago, but where 2-1 baseball games, 3-2 baseball games were back. It seemed like there was a culture shift, but all of a sudden it's back to where it was. I mean, no, it's not. They're breaking records. They're breaking total home run records.
Yeah, it's for the most amount of home runs in a season by the league.
In 2015, the way the Mets were hitting home runs, I know it's because I watched them every night. It was the baseball. It was the elite. I mean, baseball was looking at the Mets saying, "Man, look at them. They are the modern team. They're station to station. They hit a lot of home runs. People aren't always on base because they're not great, but the approach is the modern approach: power pitching, station to station, hit the ball out of the ballpark." And now everybody's doing it. I mean, but 2 short seasons ago, it was considered to be that's
it's okay.
the blueprint.
It's okay to say that you're not buying it. I just hate that we've reached a place that forevermore, I think, that if somebody, even monsters amongst men, like that guy, 6'8", 275, what the hell are we talking about? His heavy-ass bat looks like a toothpick. We don't even trust a guy like that is hitting home runs clean.
I don't know.
We don't trust, obviously Giancarlo Stanton,
who was around and he predated this rise, and he was always able to hit 40, 50 home runs.
And when he didn't get hurt, he was always on pace to hit a ton of home runs.
I think he's got the best chance of being legit. But again, I just go back to the piece before this thing exploded where Buster Olney is warning people, he's warning his readers that the Players Association has a large contingent of players saying, I'm going to have to use something if you don't act. And nothing changed between the time he penned that piece and now.
Well, baseball has the most stringent drug policy of any of the big 3 sports. They do it better than anybody else. They're popping people left and right.
But he was saying there's enough out there that people are staying ahead of the curve.
Well, I think that's true of every sport. I just don't think you can keep up. So it's fair to say you're not buying it. At the same time, baseball's doing more than any other sport to try to prevent it. And in this era, when they have a policy in place with real teeth and guys get caught all the time. Starling Marte and my Pirates got caught freaking 5th game of the year. I was screwed. I mean, they're catching people. They're testing more frequently. Their tests are tougher than any other thing. He can't even break the rookie record of home runs in this era where the testing is as strict as it is, and we believe it. Even now, we can't believe it. That says to me there's no way to keep a sport clean, any sport. Any sport.
And part of it is also, I think, obviously the physics of it, right? It's not just – we learned this from the late 90s. Everybody just assumed the sluggers were the ones that were juicing and the poor pitchers. Now, everybody was. Everybody
was, yeah.
I mean, and again, look at the rise in 95-plus mile-an-hour pitches, 98-plus mile-an-hour pitches. You did it. What was it, 3 months ago?
Yeah,
looking at the exponential rise.
But
you're putting that together
with
people using what's going to happen? Of course the ball's going to fly out of the yard like crazy.
You know what we need to do? At some point, I'll reach out to Mike Martin Jr. and have him talk about this. He talks about in recruiting that when you go on the road to recruit young pitchers and you're trying to find guys, that he's amazed. He'll look at guys who may not be hitting that number now, but whose body type and the way he throws and the way he's conditioning himself, he'll say that kid's going to throw 100. He'll point at it like 3 and 4 years out. He'll go, that kid's going to throw 100 miles per hour. And So now it's this combination of all these things, right? It's that people have figured out what gets them paid, and they throw caution to the wind on all the other stuff. So a slugger is all in on slugging, the strikeout be damned, the fundamentals be damned. I got to hit the ball to the ballpark. I got to hit 210. If I hit 40 home runs, I'm getting paid. And a pitcher has decided I could be a relief pitcher out of the bullpen, throw 9 pitches. If I throw 100, you ain't hitting me.
Right. I would say, okay, yes, the market's demand dictates a lot of what you're seeing.
Right.
Specialization of young athletes accounts for some of this. Year-round training accounts for some of this. But we haven't evolved as a species in the last 5-6 years, and the numbers have gone insane from a low to a high in 5 to 6 years for both velocity of arms and also the amount of home runs that are being hit across the game. I don't think there was some sabermetric revolution in that time. There really wasn't.
Oh, I think, well, again, deciding that certain things don't matter and other things do, and hyper-focusing in on those things that allow for that exponential growth in numbers, coupled with, in some cases, a person being in a stadium suited.
But, I mean, Mark Reynolds wasn't just suddenly valued in the last 2 seasons. Mark Reynolds has been around. Adam Dunn wasn't suddenly valued. You know what I mean? Like, I get his on-base was high.
His on-base was real high.
But that player existed, before this surge in the last season or two.
Dave Kingman and guys like that back in the day, sure.
Sabermetrics were around a little bit before this whole thing happened. I mean, we were talking about it and saying baseball got it right. Look at this. Now 20 home runs means something again. And here we are a handful of years later saying, well, 20 home runs. What's he, a 7-hole hitter, an 8-hole hitter? Everybody hits 20 home runs.
Nobody on the Pirates.
And what's the explanation? Or the Giants ever?
Yeah, well, ever. No, yeah, years. Nobody on the Giants using steroids. If they are, they need to get better ones.
What's the simplest explanation for all that?
Sure. It just sucks in a year where you have, again, the testing where it's at, and you've got really cool stories. The Twins lost 103 games last year.
Yeah.
And we're not really, it just saddens me. I like these good things in baseball that get overshadowed by this all the time.
Well, yeah, the dirty secret is the game can still be quite entertaining.
Sure.
It's just that
when postseason's going to be very
you're doing the record books thing, and yeah.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Campaign so we can grow your business. It's football season, so everyone's listening. Call me, Nina Davis, at 561-8400 to partner your business with Tallahassee's Sports Monster.
Contact your local CenturyLink retail store to enter for a chance to win the CenturyLink Ultimate Football Fan Experience, which includes a trip to the biggest game of the year. For eligibility and official rules, go to CenturyLinkFanForLife.com/FAQ. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
You can always count on the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light, just like you can always count on reliable Ralph. Ask him to move that couch he moved for you last summer. Ralph will do it. Need a ride from the dentist? Better call Ralph. And he won't even film you after the laughing gas and put you online and get millions of views. He's Reliable Ralph, for Pete's sake. Reliable Ralph is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Each morning before you wake, you dream of breakfast like Mom used to make. Eggs, bacon, potatoes too. Can't wait to eat all this amazing food. Then the alarm bell rings and no one's cooking you anything. Real life is hard when your morning is hell. Have breakfast with a fried egg shell.
Introducing the new Naked Egg Taco. Crispy bacon, seasoned potatoes, and melty cheese wrapped in a fried egg shell. Only at Taco Bell. At participating stores for a limited time during breakfast hours.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT Clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, federal prosecutors announced charges of fraud and corruption against 10 people involved in college basketball, including 4 assistant coaches. Auburn's Chuck Person, Oklahoma State's Lamont Evans, Arizona's Emmanuel Richardson, and USC's Tony Bland. One allegation, a sports apparel company paying the family of an unnamed player $100,000 to ensure him signing at the school. That school was Louisville, reports ESPN. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting NBA free agent Dwayne Wade nearing a commitment to sign with the Cavaliers. Baseball, Cubs clinched the NL Central with a win over the Cardinals tonight. That game 8 Eastern on ESPN. Chicago also clinches with a Brewers loss. Twins lock up an AL wildcard berth with a win and an Angels loss.
Time to upgrade your wardrobe with CT Shirts, the most exquisitely crafted British-styled crease-free shirts I've ever worn. One CT shirt normally costs $100. I got you 3 shirts for just $99. Go to ctshirts.com/ESPN. ctshirts.com/ESPN.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Sad to look at the slate of games this weekend and have to delve outside the top 25 to find ours. To see us ranked behind San Diego State. Miami and Duke on a Friday night? Yes, please. A return to the scene of the crime where the flippity-doo, flipping it all around backwards and 47 clips are missed.
Oh, is that right, too? USC Washington State is your nightcap on a Friday night?
Uh-huh. Hello, Friday.
Oh, wow.
I already liked you before. Yeah, those two games are both eminently watchable on a Friday night.
Got a little doubleheader.
I got to tell you, feeling a little froggy here. We're a couple days away from Redemption Thursday, but I know what just happened with Vanderbilt against Alabama.
I knew you were looking at that game. That's funny.
You know what that number is in a sleepy nooner down in Gainesville?
Is it 10?
7.5.
7.5?
Florida's given. 7.5. I'm just saying that's an interesting number.
Well, it was an emotional win over Kentucky.
Well, every week Florida wins on the last play of the game in some crazy-ass form. I mean, at some point.
They could be really exhausted from that trip to Lexington.
Georgia, Tennessee, is it Butch being put out of his misery? Is this where they take Butch out back? Well, is this where they say, well, time's up for old Butchie? Who wants to do it?
Well, or has Georgia exercised the demons here, you know?
They have to, right? I mean, Georgia, okay, again, it's not officially Redemption Thursday, but I'm going to give you some little, I got my eyes on it notes for you, okay? Here you go. I got my eyes on it. Vandy, Florida. Vandy getting a hook, too. I got my eyes on it, Georgia, Tennessee. Georgia by more than 3 touchdowns. Butch is going out back.
Clemson, Virginia Tech, close game in the second half, or Virginia Tech's not quite ready for prime time?
Close game in the second half.
Ooh. Nice job, intern Holton. Murray State versus University 6 at 3:30 p.m.
Yeah. What you got? I'll tell you what, a sneaky good one at 6 o'clock on channel 403, Comcast dial, Mississippi State and Auburn.
All right.
A little something
that's
right there.
That's a good undercard.
That's a good undercard,
yeah.
Right? That's nice. You'll get done watching Georgia, Tennessee. Obviously, you'll think, man, Cameron did call us to beat down Wake Forest. We sure did. That gets a bad taste out of my mouth. Now I can sit back and change that taste over to a fine IPA while I watch Mississippi State and Auburn.
It's a far better taste, this IPA.
And then at 8 o'clock, Clemson, Virginia Tech. Okay. Going to watch you a little Northern Illinois, San Diego State? No, not going to watch that? Okay.
We all have limits.
Hey, so really what you get is a good Friday night, which is kind of rare for college football. And I know it angers the high school folk, but you do. You got 2 good games, fun games on Friday night. And then your Saturday best bets besides our game, which
I'm not for Friday night college games.
No,
but,
I'm not either.
But if you're going to
put them on, I'm going to watch. Yeah.
If you're going to give us this, yeah. I could get used to it.
You haven't seen that annual USF on a Wednesday afternoon special yet this year, have we? Chef Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens. $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m., 7 days a week, $7.95. Daily specials. Locally owned and operated since 1978. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill. 3 locations to choose from. 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Front Row Knowles with Tom Block and Keith Jones. Brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. And presented by Hobson Chevrolet of Cairo, Georgia. Wednesday nights at 6 on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man, I get too wrapped up in how Vegas does their job. Well, I'm getting more and more wrapped up. I really find that fascinating. And there's a whole network dedicated to it. You can find a lot of different shows that talk about how they arrive at the number. That's just intriguing to me. Did you know this? For the first time, I think maybe ever, that's documented, it was either the Washington Post, I think I read this yesterday, public favor towards legalizing sports gambling is now over 50%. More, the majority now believe you should legalize it.
Well, how about that?
I know. And on the table currently, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to turn this into a gambling show. I do like gambling, but and I think adults should be free to do with their money what they want. But having said that, I think there's a proposal in 32 states to, if this bill passes that's coming up in November, that you might be able to legally gamble on sports, professional sports, not college sports. That's
right.
The thing. You can still do that in Vegas, but not most places. Professional sports in like 32 states. So all that offshore stuff that people have to do now, like Bovada and all that, you maybe wouldn't have to do that.
Interesting. Pro sports are difficult, though.
Oh, well, no, I'd rather it be college, true.
Me too.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, pro baseball? Hockey? You like to gamble hockey?
Well, yeah, I do. Yes.
So, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Point taken. You're right.
I'm not touching the NFL. You could make that legal in all 50 states and then give people to bet with it, and I wouldn't do it. I mean,
boy, this past week was a cautionary tale, wasn't it? That anything can happen.
It's the NFL. Buffalo beats Denver by 10. Jacksonville beat Baltimore 44-7. Chicago, the Bears, who are awful, beat the Steelers 23-17. Indianapolis, who's looked like they have no pulse whatsoever. I grant you, they beat Cleveland, but they beat Cleveland.
Oakland looked hapless on Sunday night.
Yeah, couldn't compete. Seattle gets blown out. The Jets.
I was on that Seattle train, though. That offensive line sucks.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where they play, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest.
Yeah, we're done with them now. They revealed for once and for all what they are. But by the way, the Jets basically shut out the Dolphins. The Dolphins scored in the last play.
Yeah.
Or else they got shut out by the Jets. You can't do it. You can't mess around with the NFL, man. 27-10 Washington over Oakland, as you said. You just can't do it.
Well, I think
Cincinnati has Green Bay beat.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
I know, Mixon falls down. But I think the truth is that when you get to the middle weeks of the season, that's when things are really volatile because teams aren't going to start players, they'll be inactive, and you'll know that 15 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah.
Because they know it's not life or death that you win every single week. But then once you get into November, and the games matter greatly, then I think you can probably play by the way the paper on
the
paper.
Spread, yeah.
The way it lines up on paper.
Oh,
compare
the better
two
players. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Well, but the biggest problem in the NFL too right now is teams are so thin. So in addition to bad offensive line play, if a starter goes down at linebacker, if a starter goes down at corner, you could get blown out by anybody the following week. I mean, you got problems.
Well, and that's where, the Bucs, they may be worse than you thought defensively, but we talked about it on our podcast, that there'll be a sieve at times. Like last year, all the talking points were, well, the defense, carried them to 9-7. Yeah, but the defense was a sieve for weeks on end last year, and that personnel hasn't gotten a whole lot better. So if you're missing starting defensive tackle, best linebacker, top corner, you're going to have
You're going to have some issues.
Yeah.
Adam Gase, I like Adam Gase, man. Did you see him say this yesterday? Talking about the Dolphins game, obviously I mentioned they almost got shut out. Quote, that was a lot of bad football. More mental errors than we've had in the last 2 years. I'll find the guys that want to do it right, and those are the guys that we're going to play. I'm upset about the way our offense played, that's for sure. I'm just tired of watching this for 2 years. It's pure garbage. We'll figure out something to do with this garbage offense. Well, if you are working for him on the offensive side of the football, you may want to pass the resume. I mean, my man just called out an entire segment of his team.
The segment he's supposed to specialize in, too.
Oh, I agree. Now, it didn't help him at the start of the year. They lost their starting quarterback, and they've had to go to Jay Cutler. But, man, your offense, and maybe that's why he said it, because he knows it reflects poorly on him. But when you've got Jay Ajayi, Jarvis Landry, Kitty Still, Devontae Parker, Cutler, you shouldn't be that anemic. I mean, they've got plenty of weapons.
That's a headline grabber. Cutter said something pretty similar about the defense. He said, well, when you can't rush the passer, can't really tackle, and you can't cover anybody.
It's hard to win games.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me, man, back in the day with John McKay, with the Bucs, man, he was always the best. But when he was asked about his defense, not the execution, which is the famous line, I'm all for it. But, yeah, he also said about his defense, well, we can't tackle. We can't cover. Other than that, we're fine. That's he's great. He was he had fun with it. He's the famous one who said, well, we can't win at home, we can't win on the road. I'm going to propose we play neutral site games from here on out. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate limescale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, federal prosecutors announced charges of fraud and corruption against 10 people involved in college basketball, including 4 assistant coaches. Auburn's Chuck Person, Oklahoma State's Lamont Evans, Arizona's Emmanuel Richardson, and USC's Tony Bland. One allegation, a sports apparel company paying the family of an unnamed player $100,000 to ensure him signing at the school. That school was Louisville, reports ESPN. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting NBA free agent Dwayne Wade nearing a commitment to sign with the Cavaliers. Baseball, Cubs clinched the NL Central with a win over the Cardinals tonight. That game 8 Eastern on ESPN. Chicago also clinches with a Brewers loss. Twins lock up an AL wildcard berth with a win and an Angels loss.
Time to upgrade your wardrobe with CT Shirts, the most exquisitely crafted British-styled crease-free shirts I've ever worn. One CT shirt normally costs $100. I got you 3 shirts for just $99. Go to ctshirts.com/ESPN. ctshirts.com/ESPN.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but if you do miss something, don't worry about it because all 3 hours are going to be posted both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. Good stuff. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app. Good for your mobile devices. Certainly appreciate that. Jeff, email. Patino is watching 9/11 documentaries in Billy Minardi Hall as we speak. P.S. Our football team blows. That's from Garrett. Thanks, Garrett. All right, that's a pointed email. You're allowed to say that? It's all right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you can. It's definitely not an FCC violation because I didn't say what. I'm blowing. You're allowed to say that.
Okay.
No, you can absolutely say that.
All right.
Don't be paranoid, man. It's all right. It's not that bad yet. But Garrett wants you to know that that's a real thing that they do. I think they're going to blow out Wake Forest. Speaking of blowing, all kinds of blowing out Wake Forest. A beatdown, a thorough beatdown. And I'm going to go with that to not only cover the number, Tom, I'm going to go with it. I'll give you 20. You want 20?
20.
I'm going to give you 20.
Yeah, I'll take 20.
I'm going to give you 20.
I'll take 20.
I'm going to do it. Now, the caveat to the pick is, A, I thought we'd blow out NC State. And B, if they don't care to play, you can lose to anybody.
Yeah.
And that I can't know. And that's actually a bigger question. By the way, that's a nice email. I got hundreds that aren't like that say a lot worse than what Garrett said. There were rumors, not even rumors. Ira even pointed it out. He said something today. You'll hear it on headlines at the end of this hour when we go there. But he said it yesterday on the air with me. That a lot of that defensive staff, or not staff, I should say, the personnel, the players walking off the field were really angry yesterday, on Saturday. Kind of maybe some infighting, maybe some words for the coaching staff, maybe some frustration beginning to boil over. Look, it's going to go one of two ways here, man. Here's the deal. Either they're a little unlucky, played well against Alabama, had a lot of things go wrong in the NC State game, and if any one of those little things go right, they win the game. But they didn't get a single call. They had a couple of things. If his knee's down and it's not a fumble,
right,
they're going in to score there. I think you could make a case we actually recovered the fumble, by the way.
Dickerson gets it
He's
initially?
got the ball.
Yeah.
He's down with the ball. But all right, once again, didn't get that call. Not he could argue he was down. They missed a targeting. Any number of things. Okay, the reason I bring that up is not to excuse make, but to say if they win that game, no matter how ugly, the narrative is very different. We're talking about some problems got to work out, but we're also beginning at that point to chalk up an awful lot to the layoff. If you win the game, how much of what we saw that we're bitching about now would have been chalked up due to the layoff? Because the win would mask, right? Just like it's a great deodorant to win.
Yeah. Yes and no. I agree with you that the narrative would be fundamentally different. However, the defensive performance would raise eyebrows either way, I believe.
I believe that's true, too. But it all adds up to, do they care to play the game? Because if you've watched Wake, and I have because I like to gamble illegally, and I got to know what I'm gambling on. And the public, and this is not a shot at anybody who's just a casual observer, but if you don't watch a lot of these teams, you can be fooled by their records. You can think that somebody's one thing when they're not, just based on their records. I've seen Duke play 3 times this year. They're very well coached. They do some things well. Are they any good? Not really. Not really. They do some things well, and they are well coached. And when you look at quality of competition.
Well, let's look at the vacuum real quick just to get an idea of how you feel about Wake. The 2 Packer road games that was supposed to be, surrounded by a bye or surrounding a bye. Duke and Wake Forest, who concerns you more between the two?
Duke.
Okay. That means the Duke game is of moderate concern to you because it's placed between Miami and Louisville. Now the schedule is the way it is.
Yeah, except for I don't think that we have look ahead in us right now. I mean, we don't. What are we looking ahead to? I mean, you got 2 losses on your ledger here. I mean, it should occur to you by now that you can lose to just about anybody if you're not playing well.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if they're invested, I don't think you'll see those kinds of behaviors. But, that I don't know. I asked Jimbo specifically yesterday. You heard the interview. If you guys didn't, it's on iTunes during the show yesterday. I asked him on Sunday night specifically about the locker room. That really interests me because then any grandiose prediction I have for any game on the schedule, throw it out the window. I got no chance to be right. You can lose to anybody if the guys have disconnected. If they have decided that, you know what, it's not working, we're being betrayed by our coaches, our goals are off the table. But let me tell folks something here for a second. Wake Forest is 4-0, but they've beaten Presbyterian, Utah State, Appalachian State. By the way, the Appalachian State's by a point on a blocked. Yeah, I mean, and BC. Now, the BC win at the time, we thought, oh, man, that's a good win on the road. For Wake Forest to go on the road and beat Boston College, the 2 programs are essentially the same.
Yeah,
right?
beat them like a drum, too.
34-10. We thought, oh, well, maybe they got something. But again, 3 of their 4 wins are sort of whatever. They play, after they play us, they play Clemson. This is brutal for them. They play us and Clemson back-to-back. If they're legitimately decent, then these will be close games, and you'll start to look at them down the line in games against Louisville and Notre Dame and Georgia Tech and have some fun with the sporting aspect of all of this.
Well, defensively, they gave us problems last year.
They always do. Dalvin had 25 carries for 120-something yards, but it was 25 carries that he had to do it on, right?
Close game 2 years ago. Now Dalvin goes down with a hamstring injury initially, and after that long 9-yard run.
Yeah.
But then we're holding on for dear life. I think it was a Tyler Hunter interception in the end zone that sealed that game.
Dave Clawson does a good job. They're better every year. If you look at them defensively, they've got 3 of their front 4 back from last year that are all pretty good. They got a stud defensive end who's going to play in the league. They play pretty good defense. They do that. But I don't know how they're going to score on Florida State. And I know you're going to roll your eyes out there. You hear that. You say, you said that about NC State. NC State's a far cry better team than Wake Forest. If Florida State bothers to care, invest, set the edge, and tackle. Make that kid throw the football to beat you. Good luck with that. And if he does, we've got much bigger problems than worrying about anything else on our schedule. We've got issues with the coaching staff that go above and beyond sort of the conversations we've been having if Florida State struggles with this Wake team.
Okay, if the offense, defense, and special teams turn in a similar performance, like clone it if you possibly could.
Right.
What is the spread in this game to NC State? Just trying to get a gauge of your feeling of what Wake Forest is against what NC State is. They turn in the same performance, same level of effort, but they're going against Wake Forest players instead of NC State players. What does this thing look like in your mind?
Well, if we're going – okay, so if you remove NC State's front 7 and you replace it with Wake's, I don't think Jimbo abandons the run so soon. I think he enforces, he forces his will, and you run the ball. I would look to Florida State running the football this weekend and really wearing Wake Forest down. So I would have had us winning by 2 to 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
But every game is in and of itself. So I got you. You get up there to Snuggy Hill, you start playing poor. Those fans, they put down their wine for a second, start getting into it. Next thing you know, it's close in the second half. Who knows if these kids have a lot of confidence or not? But really, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? It angers me that we're even having this discussion, right? I mean, look at the caliber of athletes that Florida State recruits and look at Wake Forest's athletes. What are we talking about?
Well, it's akin to a discussion we had in 2011 when this team lost to Oklahoma. EJ got hurt. Then it loses to Clemson on the road. Trickett turns in a nice performance, but it wasn't enough.
But we lost, 35-30?
Correct. Then we go into bye week, and then we go up to Wake Forest, and we lose that game. We weren't talking about losing that game that week, but I'm talking about the conversation we had next week when Florida State traveled to Duke, and we're thinking, is it possible? Is it possible that this program, at that point, not as advanced from a talent standpoint as it is now, can go on the road and lose to Duke? I think it's that type of week where we kick the out of Duke that next week.
I think we're going to kick the out of Wake Forest. I'm telling you right now, though, if we don't, that's a crazy conversation. I mean, you want to talk about the things you'd have to start to think about. It's Gene Williams and I were talking. I got to give Gene credit for this. I talked to him this morning. We were doing the War Chant report, and he said, you don't like to think of it this way, but this is kind of a crossroads game for Jimbo. Because we don't think he's going to go lose it. We don't think Florida State's going to go lose. But if they do,
right?
If they're 0-3 with a loss to Wake and NC State back-to-back, I would think that the overwhelming narrative would be that their people would be ready to move on. What's the rest of the year going to look like at that point?
Yeah, you're looking at 0-4 at that point.
Well, and
it
would break the
streak.
Miami streak, and then
that's critical mass kind of stuff. I don't think that's in the cards.
I don't think. Well, but it does add a heightened awareness to this game that we didn't figure we would be looking at. I don't think it's going to happen either.
Nobody shows up. Like I said this yesterday, and as you were talking about Ira's point, the players walking off the field and being angry. Nobody shows up, puts the pads on, warms up, kick the game off. Nobody shows up to quit. But if they run into adversity, that's when the decision is made. And the question is, let's say Wake again. You laughed yesterday, but let's say Wake Forest, jumps out to a 7-0 lead.
They could run a trick play or something. And,
exactly right. 7-0, 10-0 lead. What do you do? What happens then? I don't want to see it, but it would be fascinating to see if that scenario happened. What Florida State would do in that moment? Would they shut down? I don't think they would, but I want to. You got to know.
It's a bad thing because it really renders me speechless. And I'm a talk show host. I mean, but it's seriously, if they lose to, what are we doing?
Percentage chance of that happening?
Oh, very small.
Yeah,
I think it's very small. I don't 10%, 5%. I mean, it's very small.
Don't F around and lose this game. Is that the theme of this week?
Yeah. I mean, if they lose this game, now I got a call for you to be fired. I mean, what are we doing here?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's DEFCON 5 stuff.
Dude,
I mean,
that's 2011. That's after Wake. I forgot about that Monday show. I can't save you if you lose to Duke on the road.
I said that. I said that. I did. I said, I can't save you if you lose to Duke on the road. And I don't know if I can save you if you lose to Wake on the road. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Not that I go out of my way to try to protect anybody. I'm saying it's just that I don't feel that way right now. I don't want Jimbo gone. I want him to make changes. I think he needs to fire some people on his staff, like yesterday. I do believe that. But if you lose to Wake, now I got to look at you. Now I got to start going, what's wrong with you, man? It makes me sick.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
TNT. I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You've got this solved because you know Sport Clips. And if you're already looking Sport Clips handsome, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. As all of North Florida comes back to business as usual, I want to remind you all of the reasons that this is the best time ever to buy a new Kraft Nissan. Seriously, for 10 more days, we have huge post-storm offers we may never see again. Plus, September is the close of our biggest quarter, and I need your help. Kraft Nissan must sell 78 new Nissans in 10 days, hit our largest dealer bonus ever. And you know me, I believe in sharing that money with you. We hit our number, you save thousands below invoice, we both win. Plus, rebates up to $4,000 on sedans, $9,000 on trucks, 0% interest on most models, Nissan Hurricane Relief money, and no payments for 6 months. Kraft Nissan's Lifetime Warranty Plus. We've added 1 year free maintenance and $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book for your trade. I'm telling you, Kraft Nissan must sell 78 new Nissans by the close of business Monday, October 2nd. We seriously will entertain all offers. So please help us help you save thousands with the final days of Nissan's Hurricane Relief incentives. And remember, Tallahassee is a Nissan town, a Kraft Nissan town. Go to craftnissan.com for details.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Customers constantly tell us that they're getting several estimates to compare apples to apples. You ever bite into an apple and find out the inside is rotten? Cheap roofing quotes are just like that rotten apple. Quote looks shiny and delicious because it's the cheapest, right? But you wind up with that rotten apple that leaks or starts to fail immediately. All roofing quotes are not equal. Cheap estimates equal cheap materials, subpar labor, or both. For quality that lasts, call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Look at that mouth. That poor, parched mouth. So dry. What'd you eat for lunch? Chalk dust? Did your mouth cannonball into a barrel of mothballs? You're being awfully quiet. Is that because your mouth feels like the business end of a Dremel saw? Is it because your mouth just wrote a haiku and all 17 syllables were dry heaves? You're so parched. You know it. I know it. The entire radio knows it. Just admit it. You want a Mountain Dew. Your mouth feels like it just inhaled the insides of a punching bag, and the only remedy is that neon green potion. Right now, your mouth could be tongue bathing in the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Instead, it feels like you've been motorboating King Tut's sarcophagus. Show some mercy. Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew. You know your mouth wants you to. Do the Dew.
Nothing quite beats authentic Italian food and a Pepsi. Indulge your taste buds and experience all the flavor of Italy right here in Tallahassee. Visit Urban Food Market today, located in the center of Tallahassee. Urban Food Market, proud to serve Pepsi.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio, taking you to 5 o'clock. You won't be devoid of me. I know how disappointing that is to some of you. But I will be joined by two different gentlemen for another show we do here called Seminole Headlines. That's coming up at 5. Irish fell Corey Clark. And, Tom, it's also the last half hour, so go ahead and cue it up if you would, sir.
Count them up, pour them out.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
There it is. It's Beer 30, brought to you by the 7th Hill Tap Room on Appalachie Parkway.
The final half an hour of a workday for a lot of you, that's a good thing. Makes it the perfect time for Beer 30, presented by our friends at the 7th Hill Tap Room on Appalachian Parkway. Tonight is Kick the Keg Tuesday, where you can enjoy $3 select drafts. You can also catch the WarChant.com Man Cave show when we do it. We're not doing one tonight. We're doing one next week. So that would be something to look into. So good stuff there from our friends at the 7th Hill Tap Room. And tell them about the cup.
Yeah, well, the Cup Club Cup is a $10 cup that you can invest in, and it gets you $1 off all drafts from 7 p.m. to close Monday through Wednesday, as well as Saturday all day long for college football. And the funny thing was, when we were there last week, there was someone we know who was at the 7th Hill Tap Room and said, I love, that you're coming here for the Man Cave show, but we want to play darts, so get the hell out of our way.
Get the hell out of the way.
Let's get this Man Cave show wrapped up because we want to play darts.
We knocked it out.
A lot of things to do at the 7th Hill Tap Room. Darts, shuffleboard, board games, which are really fun to do.
Watch the games. There's
Watch
TVs
the games
in there.
And self-service taps, brother man.
Our thanks to our friends, not the friends, our friends, our many friends at the 7th Hill Tap Room, right underneath Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, where you can always find the newest and freshest Florida craft beer. Woo-hoo! This story is crazy. We've talked about it today, and it will continue to develop, no doubt. Some people are going to need some beer, especially if your name is on a long list of charges being brought by the FBI. This is not your standard. If you're jumping in the car, I won't get into, we're continuing to watch this thing develop. But you know how you hear about recruiting violations, and you go, well, somebody doing 110 and a 70. Somebody raised their hand and said, hey, got a little crazy. Can't do that. That's crazy. Yeah, this isn't that. No. This would be a violation of federal law. Now we're going into the realm of you got real problems, not NCAA problems, like real problems.
Yeah, the line often is the NCAA has no jurisdiction, so what if somebody says no?
Double middle fingers.
Well, the FBI does have jurisdiction.
No, you'll go to jail. 20 years.
You might say
cases.
A part of that word might be in all caps, jurisdiction.
Yeah, you got issues. You're violating federal law. And by the way, if you read this thing initially, and I have taken a good glance at this, it's looking like, Tom, money laundering, paying players, mail fraud, steering players to agents.
Newman. Yes. Yeah, well, that. Mm-hmm.
Well, you got issues now at that point, and assistant coaches steering players to agents, that would have to be kickbacks because the university doesn't serve to benefit there. Yeah, man. Like, people are going to jail.
Oh, hell yeah. And doing time.
Like, serious time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a story. I always wondered when we were going to get the next big one. You remember, okay, listen. I got to be careful here. But remember when we were looking at the Wiggins situation? And we were thinking, come on, it's us in Kansas. We don't really stand a chance. There's no reason to think we're going to get Wiggins except his family, right? And the ties to Florida State. And I remember somebody saying, you must not know, somebody emailed, and they weren't being insulting, but they're like, you do realize how the world of college basketball now works. And he goes, I'm not saying Wiggins is on the take, but somebody who's in some way associated with Wiggins or any other top-tier prospect, like to that level, like a one-and-done, going to be here for an hour, on his way to the league, usually other forces are at work. Not always, but a lot of times, we know how dirty over the years the AAU thing is in college basketball can be, and how many people have their hands out. And how many people act as runners and steer guys this way and that way and influence them. And a lot of times you find out they don't have the kid's best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind. And there are a lot of people that stand to really gain if somebody goes here as opposed to there. And anyhow, as that conversation was broached, as we had the buildup to Wiggins' announcement, this person emailed and said, listen, if this is anything like the other mega stars that are one and done like Durant was and those kinds of guys in college that are going to roll into a place and just as soon as they get there, they're going to leave, the chances that Florida State get them are very, 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 very slim. And then all they did was write down at the bottom, shoes. They were talking about who's he repping.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the shoes and what schools wear those shoes. Does yours? That was the question. You remember that?
I do remember.
And I like, no, we don't wear Adidas. They're like, yeah, good luck getting him. And at the time I thought, good Lord, everything is a conspiracy theory.
Sure. But it's
and I'm not saying he or specific.
Of course.
It's a larger talking point.
But it's also known, as cutthroat as college football recruiting can be, and is, most certainly, across the board, everywhere, everywhere.
Sure.
That college basketball operates at quite a different level. And that's been the understanding for some time now. Is you think college football is crazy? Well, that's in pockets of the country. Wait do you hear about the AAU circuit? Wait do you hear about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was always just weird, like how it got that way. I remember talking to a basketball coach. It's not Leonard Hamilton. It's a different basketball coach. But he coached for a very long time, and if I said his name, you'd know him. Anyhow, he told me, he goes, listen, I hear you guys on the air all the time talking about recruits getting paid to go to, Ole Miss or wherever. He's like, you realize how the college basketball game's played? Now, he did say, hey, look, there are schools that are of the elite status that don't have to do it. They're so big, they don't have to do it. Like, kids are going to go to Kentucky. Kids are going to go to Duke or UCLA or what, you know what I mean? He said it's schools that aren't quite at that level that you really look at. And I said, jokingly, you mean like when we get one-and-done players to come to Florida State? And he chuckled and said, look, man, I'm not touching that. Don't know anything about it, whatever. But I'm sure people from afar are like, no, I'm just happy so far today. And by the way,
I'm happy we don't have Adidas shoes.
Right about now I am. Oh, by the way, though, there are, from what I'm reading, the assistant coaches that have been kind of talked about in this, they're at Nike schools. And there's a Under Armour money situation going. I mean,
hang on, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know nothing about what you're talking about.
All I know is this. We're not surprised today to read a story that is really just scratching the surface. Wait till we continue to read. But when you've got NCAA assistant basketball coaches, and you're talking with bribery charges and corruption charges, and it's not shocking, but it will be interesting to see it play out because, look, man, basketball coaches at Arizona, Auburn, Oklahoma State, Southern Cal were amongst people that got arrested today.
Yeah, well, and as you said earlier today, when you have financial advisors flipping to the FBI and, from the Dan Wetzel tweets you were talking about, and when you have undercover FBI agents witnessing events and saying, I'm only in an affidavit, I'm only listing what I know right now to establish probable cause, not all the facts are out yet. Well, good Lord. I mean, the entire college basketball world waits and says, are we done? Are these hits going to keep on coming? Is this the initial wave? Are they waiting from listen, it's the FBI, but still, everybody loves a good story. Everybody loves to capture the 6 o'clock news. Are they waiting to drop a hammer on, school number 6, which is a lot of people are connecting the dots and saying, well, the enrollment that they're describing looks a lot like Louisville.
Oh, and imagine how close we are to getting some incredible 9/11 audio from Rick Pitino. I mean, can't you wait to hear Billy Minardi Hall evoked yet again?
Oh,
I mean, we've had Rick is a special case.
I think there might be channeled tears, redirected
you think
tears
so?
for being caught and then redirected into
9/11?
a harrowing 9/11 story.
There's got to be. If ever you were going to latch on to the 9/11 train, it's now when the FBI is knocking.
Exactly. Besmirch away, Rick. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did you know I put on a fireman's outfit and I actually got into one of the towers? Like, come on.
Oh, if that happens, I'm going to get up and just start applauding. I'm going to stand on the desk and be like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
You've already slapped and spit in our faces enough. Go ahead. Why don't you just finish the job?
Talk about how you climbed the steps.
Finish the job, Rick.
Lives.
Piece of crap.
The picture painted by the charges brought today is not a pretty one, said June H. Kim, the acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Coaches at some of the nation's top programs solicited and accepted cash bribes. I mean, just read that sentence. Managers and financial advisors circling blue-chip prospects like coyotes employees of one of the world's largest sportswear companies secretly funneling cash to families of high school recruits. For the 10 that are charged today, the madness of college basketball went well beyond the big dance in March. Nicely done, Kim. Month after month, the defendants exploited the hoop dreams of student athletes around the country, allegedly treating them as little more than opportunities to enrich themselves through bribery and fraud. NCAA spokeswoman Gail Dent, when asked for a statement from the NCAA, said, "Nothing on this end. We'll let you know if anything changes." That's one of the great quotes ever. Hey, Gail, can we get a quote? "I ain't got nothing for you. Let you know what I do." Thanks, Gail. You're a champ.
This is just another reason one and dones are stupid. You know, if the kids had to go to school for 3 years, perhaps these relationships don't form so aggressively. But when you only have to go to classes for one semester, and then you don't have to show up for your spring semester, and you can go on and be a one and done, well, calls are made earlier in the process.
Sure.
If the calls were made to a high school student becoming, a professional basketball player right out of high school, if they're good enough, perhaps kickbacks, racketeering, or whatever the hell they're charging these assistant coaches and institutions with.
Racketeering,
yeah,
like
exactly.
It's the mob.
Well,
Yeah.
doesn't it sound, the FBI is involved, is it not?
Well, hold on a second here for a second. This is the best part. You don't have to allege anything. You already have sources telling ESPN, and I hate doing that, but that's the quote in the AP story, that the FBI complaint against James Gatto, who's the director of global sports marketing at Adidas, that complaint against him and others, there's a reference in that complaint, and it's, quote, unquote, a public research university located in Kentucky.
With an enrollment of
Louisville's
enrollment.
22,640, which matches Louisville's during the 2016-2017 academic year. And, yeah, the allegations against the unnamed school in Kentucky, some people call it Louisville. It's University 6 in the complaint. Here's the University 6 complaint. You mean Louisville? Right. Include payments of $100,000 from a sports apparel company to the family of an unnamed player identified as Player 10 to ensure that he would sign with the school.
I just want to know where Papa John's involved here, because he's got to be. I just believe he's involved somewhere.
Is he running around drunk calling Peyton Manning? Peyton, help me. Oh, God, Peyton, what have I done?
Disclaimer, this is absolute satire, but
we have no idea if he's involved in any way, shape, or form. Probably not.
Probably not, but
absolutely he is.
And this is also satire, fair warning. But I would love it if it came out that Dick Vitale was behind all of this. And Dick Vitale,
he was a ringleader. He ran the block.
He's Marvin Harrison, and we didn't know all these years.
Oh, that would be the best.
He's had runners killed, and it's all Dick Vitale.
Like all the charity stuff that he does, it's all a ruse.
It's all ruse.
He's a kingpin.
I'll keep him distracted by being stupid on TV.
Baby.
Give me your Adidas money.
In a sworn statement from an FBI agent, John Verdurer, he wrote, I've learned that in and around May of 2017, at the request of at least one coach from University 6, that they agreed to funnel $100,000 payment payable in 4 installments from Company 1 to the family of Player 10. Echo, echo, 1919, breaker, breaker 2. Shortly after the agreement with the family of Player 10 was reached in late May or early June, Player 10 publicly committed to University 6, also known as Louisville.
University 6 is 3 miles to the west of westbound highway that has a sign that says Louisville 3 miles away.
A University of Louisville athletics department spokesperson said the school was unaware of any investigation. Apparently, if you were aware, you might not have been on record and recording of funneling $100,000 to kids to come play basketball at Louisville, allegedly. It said the probe has revealed numerous instances in which bribes were paid by athlete advisors, such as financial advisors and associate coaches, to other coaches to exert influence over student athletes so they would use the services of those paying the bribes. That's how it works, typically. you may want him to go here because it helps your kid go to whatever school he wants to go to.
Hey, John, it's your boy Rick. You know, I agree with you. Better ingredients makes better pizza. You understand what I'm saying, John? Better ingredients, better pizza.
Give me a call.
Louisville basketball.
Click. I do. It will be fun. It will be fun. The number one thing that has to happen here is, somehow Patino needs to go on Mike and Mike, invoke 9/11, because he does it every time there's a problem at Louisville.
I need banana peppers.
And then in addition to him going on Mike and Mike to remind Mike Greenberg that he signed his program for him when he was a kid at the Garden, and that, Billy Minardi Hall and 9/11, it's a thing. It happened. He's been impacted by it. Distractions. 9/11, Mike, I signed your program. 9/11, I signed your program. All that. And then at some point in one of these complaints, I need to read that he once again was on top of a table at a restaurant having sex with an assistant while the other coach, who's kind of acting as his handler, is under the table. I need another round of that, and this will all be worth it. We could do 3 hours on Patino's missteps.
Mike, you knew me when you was a kid. I saved you from your suburban surroundings. I put you through Northwestern.
He's going to take credit for putting him through school.
What? Where'd you think that scholarship money came from, Michael? I knew you could serve me on this day.
Oh, man. It's fun. Anyhow, that story is just now developing throughout the course of the day. And here's where I will say, I think for as many things as ESPN does wrong, and we're quick to point those out, you'll admit that, they do some things right. And a lot of times when they get their team of investigative reporters, and whether it's Outside the Lines or what's the new show, whatever that might be, what is that show?
What, E60?
Is it E60?
I mean, that's what they do the long forms.
They do the long, well, when they get a good crew like that, if they hey, listen, I'll tell you this, Jeremy Schaap does a great job. He just does.
Outside the Lines has several shows under the umbrella.
Outside the Lines, right. If they get some of those guys on it, that's where they do their best work. That's when you can actually be proud of ESPN. It's rare, but it happens. And when you see that, you go, okay, I learned something today. That's good reporting. It still exists in these situations. It'll be interesting to see what comes out here, what we vet in the coming weeks.
Yahoo Sports is involved.
You know what's weird? This is very strange, and it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn, and I don't mean to, because it struck me as odd, too. And it may have been the Winston thing. Jeremy Schaap follows me and has messaged me. True story.
Wow.
No, I don't.
It's Name Drop Tuesday on the Jeff Cameron Show.
I'm telling you, that's weird. Don't you think that, Jeremy? Thanks. Appreciate you, brother. But that's weird.
Stay strong, Cameron.
No.
Jeremy Schaap, ESPN, Twitter handle.
He reached out to me during the Winston thing, I'm sure wanting to get information, but he wasn't asking like that. He actually complimented me for the SportsCenter thing, but then something else after that. And later on, he did a story that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to see, is he even still, paying attention? And I said something to him, and he wrote back. I said, well, would you like to come on and talk? We were talking about FIFA. And he was like, I'd love to come on. We can do an hour. I mean, he was just accessible. Isn't that crazy?
Why didn't we get that hour about FIFA?
I didn't care.
He's a big soccer nerd.
Oh, no, he knows everything about it. No,
yeah.
I know.
In general, he's a big soccer nerd.
I didn't care enough to do the hour. I just was asking him a few questions to get a cursory sort of, surface level knowledge of the situation. Because at the time we did bring it up. I mean, there was corruption there, and we love corruption. So
of the highest order.
When you get corruption at that level, it's fun. You love to see what goes on.
Short of touching a glowing orb, that's what FIFA's doing.
Well, right. And so when that was going on, I was asking him questions. He was responding left and right. He was like, hey, you want me to come on and talk about it? We can do an hour. I was like, well, look at my man Jeremy Schaap reaching out to the dudes in Tallahassee.
It tells you he's available because hard news, nobody appreciates
That's true. It's true. It's a shame, right?
I'll do an hour. What do you say?
He's like, hey, listen, I'm on NPR, and then I'm on the BBC, and then the Jeff Cameron Show if you'd like. I'm good.
That's
my
only American sports
That's
show
all I got. We'll come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Long. Then there's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy. Go win yourself some money. What about lunch? Weekdays, pick from over 20 menu items for just $7.50, including a drink. What you doing for Thursday night football? How about the fourth quarter where you'll get $2.25 domestic drafts, $2.75 domestic bottles, and $4 Jaeger bombs. No weekend would be complete without bubbles and brunch. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., get all the mimosas and Bloody Marys you can drink and a breakfast for $18.99. Can you say Uber? Knowles, Bucks, Jags, or Finns, no matter who your favorite team is, take it to 2033 North Monroe Street and watch them at Tallahassee's favorite football hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he wants it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, T-I-X-X. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
What am I going to do about Joey? He's staying so overwhelmed with homework, assignments, and tests. He's working so hard, but I don't know how to help.
Hi, I'm Lance Davis. Let Engaged Academics help your child learn how to cope with the stresses of academics. Visit engagedacademics.org for more information. That's engagedacademics.org.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. We'll say goodbye here momentarily. No, in a little bit. A few minutes. And then when we do that, we'll turn it over to Seminole Headlines. That'll be good. Rachel Myrick of Fredericksburg, Virginia, was walking through the foyer of a Longhorn Steakhouse in Spotsylvania County. Sports.
It sounds like a New Jersey guy saying Sportsylvania.
It does.
Spotsylvania.
Earlier this month, when all of a sudden she felt a very sharp pain in her left foot. Her first thought was that she'd been stung by a bee. She tried to brush it off and just keep going. She told the paper that it hurt, but not terribly. But then a sharp pain set in, and she dropped her cell phone and wallet. I had my fingers under my foot, and that's when I felt something moving. Ooh, I'll get you freaked out.
Oh, dude.
That's not good.
Not cool.
Right? No.
I don't know. I don't like where this is going.
Myrick had been bitten twice on toes by a copperhead.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would have been some kind of weird spider, but it's a
No,
copperhead.
it's a copperhead.
Oh.
Left her in the hospital for 11 days. She said there by the foyer, the entranceway to go have their steak goodness, that she freaked out and began yelling, "I've been bit! I've been bit!" I wish I had been there. That's awesome. Hit the floor between my son Dylan and my boyfriend Mike, she said. Both of them instantaneously stepped on its head, and killed it right there in the foyer. After the snake was dead, emergency services were called, and Myrick was taken to the hospital. They waited, though. Is it dead? Okay, come on, hon. She was given anti-venom shots and other treatments to reduce the swelling, which spread up to the top of her leg. She had gone to the restaurant September the 12th with her 13-year-old son. And, by the way, they love to tell you all about her boyfriend in this story for some reason. Like, whatever. I'm unable to do anything normal in my day-to-day life. My entire life is upside down at this point. Oh, good Lord. We're being a little melodramatic here.
Can't punch a keyboard, huh?
Myrick told the Freelance Star that doctors had said they will probably take her at least 3 months to recover. Meanwhile, she's using crutches. Avoids putting pressure on. It's painful just to ride in a car. There's very little I can do. I can't work. I can't take my kids anywhere. Even phone calls are very difficult. This is ridiculous.
Is she setting up for some mega lawsuit? What the hell's going on here?
Oh, that's so good.
It's going to be 3 months.
Longhorn spokesman Hunter Robinson told the Freelance Star that the bite was a highly unusual incident. Don't worry, Hunter. We get it. You're not responsible for snakes. They go wherever they go. What are you going to do? I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, he has to come out and go, now listen, before you get to thinking that a lot of our customers get bitten by copperhead snakes out in the foyer outside the restaurant, it's just really uncommon. I promise you. We got it, Hunter. We're working with our facilities team to see how this may have occurred.
Oh, my God.
Hey, bring in the facilities team, guys. I'll tell you how it happened. The foyer is outside. Snakes live outside. We're done talking here. If you walk by a bush and there is a snake in the bush,
hey now,
and it bites your foot, you don't go, well, how could this happen? It's nature, man. The snake's in the bush. It bit you. You got too close. I love that he called in the facilities team. Got to make sure we can prevent this from happening again. You can't. Unless you're just going to kill all snakes. Good Lord.
I believe the process is the snake migrates from the woods or a grassy area through the parking lot and to the floor of the restaurant. Probably picks up butter at some point. I don't know.
Well, wait, did he bring the butter or did he leave it? I think he left it behind. Okay.
Yes.
Probables, sir. But before we get to probables, let's do a little What's on Tap.
Ready for a cold one? Proof Brewing Company in Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
Well, probably baseball tonight. A lot of baseball, I guess. We're in the final week of the season. I'm going to take it easy this week, kind of build up to the big weight game, Tom, and switch on over to the baseball for now. Watch the home stretch.
Had to be 3:30 too. It's just right in the middle of the day. You know, if I can complain about anything, because I feel like complaining about everything now that we lost to NC State. But that's just right in the middle of the day. That feels like a nooner. Why is a road game at Wake not a nooner? It should be always a nooner.
I kind of want to go. There's a part of me that wants to go chill and drive up to Snuggy Hill, get up real early Saturday morning. I'm sure you can get tickets cheap.
Oh, yeah.
I could always use the press pass, but I don't want to do that. I may go on a call and say, guys, got any tickets laying around? Sure, come on up. $5 a pop, wherever you want to sit.
Oh, yeah. They'll part with the money without even thinking.
Yeah, it would be great. Our thanks to Proof Brewing Company for coming on board to sponsor What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company and the For the Table Hospitality Group present the 5th Annual Florida Tap Invitational, September 29th. That's this weekend. I could do that.
So Snuggy Hill, Tap Invitational.
29th and 30th. One of North Florida's largest two-day beer festivals. VIP and general admission tickets are available online at FloridaTapInvitational.com. Probable, sir. Cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
I think it would have been funny to watch that woman fall after she thought it was just a bee sting. She's like, oh, bee got me.
I've been bit.
I've been bit.
What in tarnation?
I've been bit. I love the long, drawn-out, can't even take a phone call. Sweet Jesus.
Why are you offering up these quotes, you hero?
What's going on here?
You are the picture of courage.
In 1979, the Pirates came back from down 3-1 to defeat the Baltimore Orioles and bring home the World Championship. Tonight, the Orioles and Pirates renew their rivalry born from that late 70s World Series classic.
Revenge on the mind of all Orioles fans and players?
Probably, especially if you're old, because the Pirates did the same thing to you in 71. It's happened twice.
Did it really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
How about that?
Kevin Gausman and Trevor Williams, your matchup there. Rays, Yankees, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery. Nationals, Phillies, Gio Gonzalez, Jake Thompson. It's funny when you go back and watch those old World Series, you can find any of those 60s, 70s World Series online. You just go to YouTube. I went back and watched the Pirates-Orioles. I remember that World Series. It's one of the first World Series I remember. I actually remember 77, 78, 79. But 79, when the Pirates win, Willie Stargell hits a big home run. Go look at the crappy fields and just how sorry everything looked. There's like weeds everywhere.
Trash rolling all around.
It's crazy. They didn't care at all. Braves, Mets. R.A. Dickey. It could be his final career start, they're saying.
Wow.
After struggling through the early portion of this month, he did regain a feel for that knuckleball during Thursday's 8-inning outing and a win over the Nats.
Good for him.
Talking about hanging it up, he's saying.
He won a Cy Young with the Mets at one point, lest we forget.
Had a good run. He looks like, currently, when you go look at his picture with the Braves, like he's kind of called it a day on life. He's
on life?
Yeah, I mean,
he's had a rough life now.
I mean, I think he's tilted a few.
Oh, really?
Go look at him.
He's got demons, so.
Rafael Montero goes for the Mets. We got the Twins and the Indians, Bartolo Colon, Josh Tomlin, Blue Jays, Red Sox, J.A. Happ, and Chris Sale. Ooh. Happ's finishing the season on a roll. He's allowed one earned run or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts. Of course he has. I swear to you. Could have had him for like $1.
Couldn't you say less in that situation? Because there's not multiple options. It's 0 or 1, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Probably could say less.
That was poorly written.
Yeah.
Reds, Brewers, Deck McGuire. And I got to tell you something. If you're going to play baseball and your name's Deck McGuire, I guarantee you're going to the bigs. Deck McGuire? That is incredible. That is the ultimate baseball man name, right? Other than Chipper Jones, which is the only way you can be named Chipper and get away with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deck McGuire. Now batting, Deck McGuire. Oh, Deck's up. All right, we're okay.
I feel like Chipper would be the redheaded, nerdy, like, sports girl from high school. You're like, hey, Chipper, how you doing? Nice girl. Wouldn't ask her to prom, though, you know?
Instead, Chipper was the guy that was banging Hooters waitresses.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Zach Davies, and they weren't his wife. And he had to tell the wife about the pregnant girlfriend. That was a good one. That had been a tough day. I still like to envision that conversation. I still crack up. It came out in the book.
I was on the deck at McGuire's.
Deck McGuire was cheering me on like I was Rick Pitino. Zach Davies going for the Brewers.
Get me some banana peppers.
Astros, Rangers, Dallas, Keuchel, Cole, Hamels. Good matchup there. Angels, White Sox, Parker Bridwell, Chris Volstad. Cubs, Cards, Jake Arrieta, Carlos Martinez. 2 teams I hate. Tigers, Royals, Anibal Sanchez. Your man, Anibal Sanchez, who, by the way, has been dominant over his last 2 starts.
He's 63 years old.
He's pitching really well right now. A bunch of 1-run ball over the last couple starts.
Eric Burns was safe in that no-hitter.
Jason Vargas goes for the Royals. Marlins, Rockies, Jose Urena and Tyler Anderson. We got Giants, D-backs. You guessed it. Matt Moore and anybody? Robbie Ray going for the D-backs tonight. All right, my man Robbie. Mariners, A's, James Paxton, Daniel Megden. Padres, Dodgers. Dinelson Lamet. He should be playing hockey.
Or yes.
He should be playing hockey.
Or he'd be a cyclist or Euro Tour golfer.
Something like that, yeah.
Guy who never made it to the PGA.
Yeah. Well, there is a Ouimet, right?
Right. Well, Francis Ouimet was U.S. Open.
Yeah, U.S. Open, yeah.
But this Lamet guy, he'd win the PGA, the BMW one, over in Europe a
that's
couple
right,
of times.
That's right. You're like, oh, that's why. I don't know who he is. He's one over there.
Two-time French Open champion.
And then they rise out of nowhere and kick ass in any of the international events involving us. We're like, who is Dinelson Lamet making 20-foot putts left and right?
And he always leads the British Open halfway through.
Always. Isn't that the guy that killed us in the Ryder Cup? Yep, only time I've ever seen him until now. No chance he holds on to that lead, but boy, he'll make a 25-foot putt against Phil Mickelson to have the hole. Alex Wood goes for the Dodgers, and that's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Good work out of you. Good work out of you, Matthew. Coming up next, Seminole Headlines. Stay tuned. Good stuff. Obviously, we're just bitching about the loss, but in an entertaining way and from every possible angle.
Who was the most angry?
Well, I think it carried over from yesterday that Ira's still the most angry. Although Corey has been very pointed. I got to give him credit. He's been very pointed. He thinks it's just a travesty that they're still looking like this.
Well, he's phasing into crotchety old man status.
That's true. He's getting there. He's got a lot of hair on his ear these days, so that's a good indicator.
Back pain out of nowhere.
True. Good work. Take care, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.